Hey everyone, Luke here, and as you can see we're in a different area of the room today because that's really because I've decided to start, like I said in my room tour video, new segments on my channel, and this is one of them. The other one is called an otaku's introduction to, where basically I just talk about whatever series I want to talk about, and that can not just be anime and manga, it can be basically British shows, because I know a lot of people that I know on like YouTube and on Discord are not from Britain, they're from like Germany or America. So I want to kind of introduce them to some British shows as well, but also I'm still going to be introducing them to anime and manga as well. That's never going to go away, but I really just want to get out some for British shows as well in my area. But another segment on my channel, which is kind of a follow-up to that, is called Sit and Talk, where basically sitting down on my chair here and talking to you guys, and that again can just be about day-to-day life and other activities that are going on in my life, because as most of you know, I'm a writer. I've written a book. I also do acting as well, so I can, and obviously I work in retail, so I kind of like want to talk about them as well. Like basically if I wanted to talk about acting, it would basically be like how I got into it, like what inspired me. If I wanted to talk about my book, obviously I would want to talk about what inspirations I got from that, and that's going to be coming up as well. And also working in retail, I just want to talk about like basically the nightmares of like working in retail, but also the positives of working in retail. Now these videos are not going to be super long. They'll probably be about around 10 minutes, 15 minutes maximum. But yeah, that's the general idea I wanted to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so today I've decided to start things off, also as well, with Sit and Talk. Basically it will be a follow-up to an otaku's introduction to, where basically if I picked like, for example, I'll use Promised Neverland as an example. If I was to do like an introduction to Promised Neverland, that the follow-up with that would be like who my favourite character is in the series. So that would be like a Sit and Talk, the Promised Neverland, the name of the certain character. And the reason why I want to do that and not do that as like an otaku introduction to is because I don't want to get them like too mixed up as well. I kind of like want to separate them, so like the introduction part will basically just be that, an introduction to the series, whereas like if Sit and Talk will be basically more talking about more elements in the series, about what I like and who my favourite characters are and who I don't like in the series itself. But yeah, like I said, let's just dive into it. So like the first thing I want to talk about today is my book, because as like you guys know, I have written a book, but it wasn't an easy thing to like get off the ground and actually get out there and get it published. And basically for the next like few videos, and these videos in the same way as an otaku's introduction, they will come out when I feel like making them. I do want to make a lot of them, and I do want that do want it to be a continuous thing. But at the same time, I want to primarily focus on the reviews. But but I will make them when I feel like I am ready to make them. Like with an otaku introduction, I'm gonna be like I've got to read like the series, and I've got to read like the series like enough to actually make a proper analysis of it. Like with the one that I'm like pointing at now, it's going to be There's a Demon Lord on the Floor. That's going to be the first otaku introduction, but I'm having to like reread the series at this moment in time. Basically, as much as I've got on my shelf, I'm having to reread it so that I have like I have it fresh in my mind, because it's been a while since I've read the series, so I have it fresh in my mind, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. So like I said, they'll come out when I feel like they're coming out, and with Sit and Talk, it's going to focus primarily at the moment on my book, basically. So without further ado, the first thing I want to talk about, the first thing though, has basically nothing to do with the book that I've written, that I've got published. It's the previous one that I tried to get published. Alright, so with the first one that I tried to get published, it was a book called Avalon: The Legend of King Arthur, and that was based on a play that my tutor wrote in college or high school if you're in America, and we wrote and we performed it, and I enjoyed it, and I really wanted to continue more of the story itself, so I kind of like wrote sequel plays to that, but they never got off the ground. And then I tried to write a film script, but that never really materialized into anything. And then I wrote the first one as like a book manuscript, and I was like, I really like this, and I really wanted to get out there. So I looked around at various areas to various avenues to talk about. One of them was independent publishing, which at the time I was very naive of. As you know, because I eventually did publish my proper book, The One For Me, through independent publishing. So eventually I settled on like, okay, I'll go for an actual publisher itself. Now, I sent it out. I sent like the manuscript out to various, but they all rejected it. But one who kind of accepted me was this one right here, Austin McCallion Publishers, who operate in London, Cambridge, New York, and Sharjah. And this is their publishing contract. And at first I was like really excited. I'm like, oh my god, is this actually going to happen? Is this actually going to happen? Well, judging by the thumbnail, if you've seen it, you've seen the title, my experience with a publisher, you kind of know the angle that it's going here. Alright, so when I first opened it up, this was the letter that I got. So let's see what it says. Dear Mr. Perchek, and yes, in case you're wondering, that is my last name. That is how you pronounce my last name. It's my name is Luke Perchek. So yeah, in case you're wondering, that is how you pronounce my last name. So yeah, you get an insight. The last name of Lash Luke, how do you pronounce it? I'll probably go into like another sit and talk about where my name actually comes from at some point in the future. But yeah, anyway, let's carry on with the letter. Dear Mr. Perchek, your manuscript was brought to our attention at the latest board meeting when we discussed its potential and the possibility of it being published. Having read all the reports and taken note of the editor's opinions, I can confidently state that your work was found to be extremely original and darkly engrossing. An extremely original and darkly engrossing variation of the Arthurian legend, with the board committee commenting on the ambitious scope of your writing and the vivid quality of the prose. So at first reading that, you might think, that's not too bad, that's actual praise. And to actually get something like that, for me writing for the first time and putting it out there, to actually get something like that, and I'll probably do another video and talk about what Avalon, the Legend of King Arthur, because that's the manuscript I wrote. I'll probably do another sit and talk talking about basically what the play is actually about, basically. Or I might do it as an Otaku introduction, I haven't decided yet. But yeah, to get something like that, you might think, that's really amazing, that's really fantastic. What would be the downside to it? Well, if we continue on, it says, since then, we have held a separate meeting with our marketing team to explore the possibilities regarding sales and target audiences. Although the forecasts for these were looking optimistic, now the way they're saying this is like, yes, this is very good, however, like the big however, although the forecasts for these were looking optimistic, there were certain reservations put forward considering the fact that this would be the work of a relatively new author. Yes, you can see where this is going. It's like, yes, this is really good, however, because it's by a new author, there might be certain areas that maybe barriers that might not be able to be overcome. And because of these, it would be of some risk to us as your publisher. So yeah, rather than just outright saying like, okay, yes, we've looked at it and we've decided we cannot take this on, they've decided, they've in my opinion, they've decided to be a little bit sneaky and try to get something out of me here, which if you've seen my retrospective of The Promised Neverland, and when I went into that story about those two people, you know how I'm like, cautious when it comes to like people trying to be sneaky with me now. But anyway, they carry on and say, to this end, a decision has been reached, and on this occasion, we are not able to offer you a non-contributory based contract. Now, basically, from what I'm getting here is that their non-contributory based contracts basically means like they do all the work for you. You don't have to put any work in when it comes to like the publishing, the editing, and the marketing. That's what I am getting at here. But they try to spin it around here by saying that we can't offer you a contract, which basically means you just have to let us do all the major work. They go on to say, we do, however, feel your work deserves to be published. Now, regardless of everything, just the fact that they have said that makes me happy. And they go on to say, given the opportunity to be launched for the reading public alongside other famous publications, as a result, we would like to offer you a contribution-based contract, therefore making this work as a partnership. And I'm like, wait a minute. Before they continue on and go, we would like to say the amount asked from you. So basically, yes, we would like to say that the amount asked from you is only a partial sum. So yeah, they're basically asking me to give money to them to get it published. Now, the reason that's kind of like a bit dodgy is because most publishers, from what I've read, don't ask you, as far as I'm aware, to do like major to give major money to you. Like the publishers make the money off the sales. Basically, that's what I'm getting at here. They make the publishers make about, from what I can say, 20% of the sales of what your book makes. That's what I've got out of everything here. And looking at here, it's like contribution-based based contract, making this work as a partnership. I'm like, really? Now the letter says as well that it's a partial sum towards the considerable costs involved in publishing and then marketing your book, which is a vital media coverage. And they go on to enclose a contract with me depicting that, and they're like, read all the clauses carefully and the royalty clauses and all of that. And I'm like, at that point, I'm just like thinking like, I'm just like a little bit disappointed in this myself. Not necessarily angry, just disappointed. And at first I was like, I was really excited. I was going up and down, and showing my family. And my brother, he actually looked through it and he's like, you might want to look at this properly. And so I sat down, I calmed down, looked at it and thought like, yeah, this doesn't look like the thing that I want to get involved with. So yeah, looking at the contract, looking at the actual agreement between myself and the publishers, even though I'm not gonna be going for them. The one part I want to talk about, because the first parts are just like going through like the clauses and everything, talking about what my rights are to the book and everything. But the one thing I want to talk about here is the advances, which basically means it's agreed that the author shall, in contribution of these undertakings, service and expenditures made on part of the publisher in accordance with the terms of agreements contained herein, paid to the publisher. So basically, these are the sums that are basically they wanted me to hand over to get my book published. The sum of £2,500 to get paperback and ebooks published. Now that just from that alone gets red flags going for me. The sum of £3,500 for hardback plus paperback and ebook editions. The sum of £4,000 with hardback, paperback and ebook editions with book traders, and the sum of £4,300 hardback, paperback and e-back editions with Book Trader and author website. And obviously they say like, oh, if the publisher should fail to publish my work as specified in clause 5, the author should be entitled to a full and complete rehabilitation of this advance. And obviously that's a good thing at some point, because they've got to do most of the work. But at the same time, those sums are ridiculous. Basically, in my opinion, like to ask a author, a brand new author, to fork over that amount of money just to get your book published, and not even properly, not even like really, what's the right word, reasonable sums, like there's sums of in the thousands just to get, where is it I can't find it, guys. I'm trying to find it. Oh, it must be, let's go back a bit. Yeah, the sum of £2,500 just for paperback and e-back editions. I'm like, really? And these are the royalties that I would have gotten for all of them. Paperbacks would have been 25%. Hardbacks would have been 25%. Ebooks would have been 40%. Paperback export sales would be 25%, whatever that means, and hardbook export sales 25%. Yeah, and they go on to other rights, so like English reprints, like film rights. Now the film rights are that would have been that I felt like, okay, that would be amazing if like me paying that amount of £2,500 just to get the book published wasn't so ridiculous. I would have been like, oh great, if they can get a film of this off the table, then 50% of the film rights would have been amazing to me. So like, that's just an insight into, like, from what I can understand, I feel like that's from those sums that I gave up of like the royalties, I feel like that's the standard. That's the standard everywhere. But at the same time, what if my book flopped after it got published because they said that if it failed to publish, I would get a refund? But if they got it published and it flopped, then that's waste of money on my part if I'm not making any money on the book. So at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to these guys, and I just didn't contact them again. But I've kept this as a reminder of, if I ever get a publishing contract or whatever, or just any contract, read everything. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say about this. About this publishing contract, how it really wasn't for me, and I don't think it should be for anyone. I feel like if the publishers see something in the book, they shouldn't have to be like, yeah, well, we want your money to get your book published, because either way they're gonna make money from the books being published anyway, because they'll get a percentage of the fees just as much as I will, of the book sales just as much as I will. They'll get a percentage as well. In the same way that an acting agent gets 20% of whatever an actor makes in whatever field that they get paid for. So that's something I just wanted to bring to you guys' attention. If you ever decided to go and publish a book, I recommend, first thing I do recommend is just go out and do all your various areas, but also be aware that if someone tries to give you a contract or anything, or tries to get you in any way, read the small print. Look at everything and think, do you really want to go through with this? So, and to me the answer was no. So I decided at that point to shelve King Arthur and instead move on to something that I was really passionate about, which was writing The One for Me, which is the book that I got published eventually through independent publishing on Amazon, which was a lot easier because I could publish on there for free and get to keep all the royalties, or all the royalties and everything. And obviously at some point in the future, don't know when, I will be doing a sit and talk on my book. The first sit and talk will be basically introducing you guys to the idea and what inspired me of it. And it might be a combination of an otaku's introduction, because I'll obviously be introducing people to the two series that did inspire that book. So look forward to that in the future. But yeah, guys, that's all I wanted to say about this video. And I honestly want you guys' opinion on this, whether you like this format where I just sit and talk about various things in my life, from publishers to writing to acting to general day-to-day life. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lashaluk signing off. Later, guys.